All right. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I put together a little presentation I wanted to go over. And at the end, we'll have some questions. And I think it'd be pretty fun. Some of the points that I want to discuss today. So let me share my screen. Give me a thumbs up or let me know if you can see my screen. You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
And sorry if you can hear my husband in the background. He is working out, lifting weights back there. So I don't know if you guys can hear him. Okay, so this is just something that just was impressed upon my heart just to come up with. I don't know if anyone has ever thought about this idea, just a real estate empowerment class. A few points that I wanted to discuss. And anytime we do these classes, it can be different points from here and there. And just one second, let me tell my husband that I am on Zoom so he can quiet it down. Just a second. Okay, so he has his headphones on singing while he's working out. So other than that, so real estate empowerment. So I just thought about this, just this topic, just to mention a variety of different topics anytime we talk, and then just really inviting people who are in the real estate world or people who want to be. And I think at one point in time that we all end up being in the real estate world, whether we're owning our own home or have family that's in it, or something you get an inheritance or something like that. So welcome to the real estate empowerment class. And how do I leave a legacy to my children, grandkids, and family, and people I am called to influence? I want you guys to think about that question. How do you leave a legacy to your children, your grandchildren, your grands, and all the way down, your family, and then people that are in your life, in your circle, whether they see you, they know you, close to you, may not be so close. In Proverbs, in the Bible, Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinners laid up for the just." And so we know, I don't know, I think we all got believers of believing in God and all that, but even the Bible references leaving an inheritance to your children and your children's children. And so how do we leave a legacy to our children and our grands and our families? What's one way? Anybody want to respond? And you guys can all see my screen, right?
Yeah. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Now, anybody want to respond? An idea of how you can leave a legacy to your children and family and people in your life?
Just investing in different ideas and like real estate.
Right. Yeah. And in this class, that is what the topic is real estate. But there's many different ways that we can, building businesses. It doesn't have to actually be real estate, but people have built great businesses and have been able to pass that down to their children and then the generations to come. But of course, in this class, I'm talking about being able to leave a legacy by being involved in the real estate world. So get involved in the real estate. Find out how this relates to your life. Maybe it's not for everybody to be a real estate agent. Maybe you just want to be an investor. Maybe you just want to be a homeowner. And you just want to pass that down to your children, your children's kids, and so on. Now, if you do become a real estate agent, this will help you to help others meet their dreams and their goals while educating yourself and helping you and your family, and you make a living at it. Keeping your ears open to hearing when people are interested and getting them connected with a trusted real estate agent who are or may want to be involved in real estate, buy, sell investments, getting licensed. So these are some ideas that I wrote down as far as when you're involved in the real estate world. Maybe you just want to refer people to somebody that you know that's connected with real estate. Myself and I know Amber's on the line, Vhanessa, she does real estate and mortgages, but they're in Utah and I'm in Colorado. And so anybody in Utah that you may know, you can refer them to them. Let's see. Some brief topics I want to discuss. We're not going to go in depth. We're just going to touch on them just a little bit. So why I have 3 topics to discuss. The first one is, why is property home ownership better than renting, and when should I sell? The second one is getting licensed. And then the third one is investments and ways in real estate and some ways that you can do that. And Vhanessa will be talking about that. So why is property home ownership better than renting, and when should I sell? Well, if you've already taken the real estate class, you know what the bundle of rights is when you have property ownership. You get to enjoy the benefits of property ownership and a bundle of rights if you own all of the bundle of rights or some of them. And there are the right of possession, which is the property is owned and may be possessed by the title holder. The right of control, the owner controls the use of the property. The right of exclusion, the right to decide who may or may not access the property. The right of enjoyment, the ability of the owner to use the property in any legal manner. And the right of disposition, the right to sell or convey the property. So why is property home ownership better than renting? And when should I sell? Well, there's a few points that I wanted to mention about when you are a homeowner versus a renter. Now, am I saying it's a bad idea to be a renter? I'm not saying that, because we all have been a renter, and there may be times where you do need to do that, maybe in transition or just in your life. It may call you to rent until you're prepared to own. Everybody has different situations and circumstances, but you want to be able to work your way to home ownership and owning property and be able to pass that down to generations to come. And one thing about home ownership, it just doesn't fall in your lap. You actually have to pursue it. Because sometimes we can get comfortable in our place of renting to where we just are maybe afraid of the unknown, or afraid to step out. Is always kind of scary when you step out to do new things, or even just if you are home ownership, stepping out to get in an investment, stepping out to doing something that you haven't done in real estate. And so I kind of work backwards with the points. I already mentioned the last point, but real estate is an asset and you're investing in your future and family legacy. Most often it increases in value. So property usually increases in value, whereas when you get a car, most of the time it decreases in value unless it becomes something antique and everybody still wants it. Building equity as you make payments. When you are owning a home, your money is actually going towards you building equity. It just doesn't disappear like when you're renting. Now, when you're renting, you never see the money. It disappears as far as you're concerned, but the owners, of course, they get that equity. Paying less. A lot of times when you are a homeowner, you end up paying less than renting. And I remember 2 years ago, I was trying to help my son find a place to rent. I was surprised. I was like, this is so unfair. This is before I became a real estate agent. I can't believe how much people charge in rent for apartments. They charge just as much as it is to own a house. For 1-bedroom apartment my son was trying to get, it was just as much as it was as what we were paying for a mortgage. And so you usually end up paying less for your mortgage. And then you also get a chance to have that equity built up, and then eventually your home is paid off. However you do it, you put extra payments and get paid off early. But and then you get tax benefits. you can modify your property as long as you're getting necessary permits, following city laws and things like that. You can't just do that with a rental. Normally you cannot, right? Vhanessa, they can't just improve on your property. You have to be the one to do that.
Yes, exactly.
So Vhanessa owns a lot of property, so she knows about that. Good to analyze if it's time to sell due to upgrade or downgrade to meet changing budgets and lifestyle changes. So I just mentioned that brief point about when is it good to sell is really based on your lifestyle. And really, you may just want to transfer that property to your children or your grandkids, and you sell it to them. However you want to do it, or you just hand it off to them. There's different ways to do it, to your family, etc. But a lot of times people end up upgrading or moving because their budget changes. They no longer have children in the house and they want to downsize, or they retired and they don't want to do a lot of lawn maintenance, so they want to sell it and get something smaller, or even upgrade when your family is growing and you're getting bigger and you're having more people, more family living in your house. So there's there's a lot of different situations, circumstances, or why people end up selling. Maybe they're moving out of state, or a job transition. But a lot of times I think Vhanessa can give her opinion as well. When you do have a house, it's good just to use that as an investment in a rental or something like that, so that you can be able to build some wealth upon that. You may want to come back to that state or that house for some reason. Getting licensed. So I wanted to mention about getting licensed. And I mentioned this with a couple last classes, that you got to get motivated, and you got to be around people who are motivating you. And really, you got to stay motivated, whether people are motivating you or not. There has to be something inside of you that says that you want more, you want better, you want a better life, you want better income. That's what motivated me, is thinking about the income that I'm going to make, thinking about a career transition, thinking about some things I wanted to take care of, becoming debt free. You got to find out what's going to motivate you. And also my husband also motivated me too along the way, encouraging me to get it done. So you only go as far as you dream, and you put your actions to it. You write your vision down and you make it plain. And I think I spelled that wrong. Write your vision down, write your goals down. It can't really happen just for having wishful thinking. I mean, it could, but it's more realistic when you're writing your goals down, and you're writing, giving yourself guide time frames when you're gonna, mini goals to medium goals to micro goals to get to the big goals. And then one thing about getting licensed, usually it costs around under $1,000. And it depends on what school, what brokerage you go through. I know my brokerage actually just started. I don't know how long they've been doing it, because I actually paid for my course. I think it was around $600 to $700. They are doing a free school. And so after that, of course, you got to pay for some other things. You find your school of your choice, whether you want it to be online or in person. You got to find out, what kind of learner are you? Are you an in-person learner? Can you learn online and be self-disciplined and hold yourself accountable? Some people may need more accountability, and maybe that may not work. And maybe half and half. I know I heard of schools that do half and half, some in person, some online. You got to find out, what kind of learner are you? Look in your past, kind of look down the line of what worked for you and what didn't work when it came to learning or school or whatever the case may be, or training. So I couldn't, number 4, I couldn't say that this enough. You just got to read and study. Listen to audios, reading material. If you get tired of reading, put the audios on. You got to continue to study and know that you're going to get to your goals if you continue to do that. I would say you'll get approximately 50 to 300 for fingerprints. It just really depends on your state, and this is for fingerprints, your exams, to purchase your license after you pass. Now, that's not an exact figure. That's just an estimate. So it could be different for everybody, for every state. So also, after all that, you have to pay your brokerage fees through your brokerage that you choose. If you become a realtor, most brokerages, if they're already a part of the realtors association, they'll require their agents to be. And so you'll have to spend some money on that. But it's really good because realtors are held to a higher standard than normal real estate agents. But in this world, because it's a lot of competition out there, it's best to become a realtor, be a member realtor. So you get about I would say 2,000 to 5,000 for startup fees, office fees, ideas how to, and you just got to really think about what are some ideas you can get this money if you don't already have it, pulling from your 401k, a credit card, an extra job, loan, or maybe somebody who would invest in your idea that could help you. Whatever works for you, just get, the whatever
Fred,
works to get the money.
Fred,
I think somebody needs to mute their phone.
uh-oh,
Or their Zoom. But
I thought I did.
number 8 is decide on brokerage you will join. Just research and get statistics, whatever you want to do, get people's opinions, advice. And I couldn't express this enough is get a real estate coach that will help you along the way. And also, I didn't put this in there, but I think it's good to get a TC, someone who will help you with your paperwork and making sure you're getting things handed in on time. And you need to be under a brokerage for at least 2 years. But if you don't start your own brokerage, after that, you have to remain under brokerage. Start off, I would suggest start off part-time unless you can afford to be full-time and your bills are covered. And then number 8, build an egg nest or backup income when the market slows down, because I've heard that it will. And I've heard some scary stories with realtors, real estate agents were doing so well. But when COVID hit, who would have thought something like COVID would have happened? Nobody would have thought that. Business were doing good, businesses that thought they were not going to get out of business, businesses that thought they would never slow down. Here comes COVID. And I heard some scary stories with real estate agents losing their homes because they didn't have an egg nest or no backup income. And that would be a scary place to be, and a bit humiliating experience as well, a humbling process to be making all that money. And then you got to be humbled because you're not making that money anymore. But building an egg nest, building a savings account when you do start making a lot of money, it's so important. Have an emergency fund. Even what's his name? The financial guy, Dave Ramsey, he talks about building a emergency fund. That's the best advice that anybody can give is build an egg nest just in general with your life, regardless of what career that you're doing, because you never know what's going to come up. You don't know when you're going to need a new roof. You don't know when that hailstorm's going to come. You don't know when the furnace breaks down. You don't know. You're always going to have that egg nest that you need to pull from if you don't have any backup income. Number 9, you are more educated to leave. When you get a real estate license, you become more educated to leave a legacy to your family and your kids and your grandkids. I heard someone, I think they said they wanted to get a real estate license just because they wanted to know more about it. And then that's why they got it. And then they end up buying their house and they didn't really do much with it. But if you really want to, there's a lot of things you can do. But I recommend if you are going to get in real estate, go for it with all you got. And the example of commissions that you can make is, if just an example, say like a $700,000 house, you help sell that. And your average commission nowadays is about 3%. Sometimes I hear people get more, sometimes less, but that's the average, 3% of the sales price. 3% of the sales price of a $700,000 house is $21,000 just to sell one house. Now, when I heard those figures before I got my real estate license, that's what motivated me, along with the other things that motivated me. I'm like, wow, what could I do with $21,000? I can pay off some debt. And I hear people when they get their checks like that, they go buy cars. But I did hear a real estate agent actually investing back into real estate, which is the smartest idea. I'm not saying it's bad to get cars, but kind of be wise with it when you do get it, if you do become a real estate agent, or if you're already one and you're getting those checks. now investing in real estate in some way. So the baton is now given to Vhanessa Davis.
Hey everyone, my name is Vhanessa Davis. I am a loan officer in Utah, also a real estate agent licensed, but not actively working that. I am an investor. I just bought my 5th house, moving into it as we speak. I'm trying to organize my closet while we're sitting here talking. The way that I personally invest is I buy a home and I live in it for a couple of years. I rent it out and I move out and buy in my next one. It's a lot cheaper to get into an investment that way. I put 6% down. You sometimes can get as low as 3.5% down. You also get better interest rates if you're buying as a primary residence and you're going to live there. If you just go buy an investment home outright, you're going to usually do 20-25% down, and you're looking about 1.5 to 2% higher interest rates than you would if you lived there. So that's my suggestion to anybody who wants to get into investing is buy a home, live there for a little while. Also, the way that things are, I know Santina kind of mentioned that it's cheaper to own. And the truth is, like, right at this exact moment, that's probably not the case, but give it a year or two and it will be the case again, right? So we all know with interest rates a little bit higher than they are, that your house is right now, you know, if you're just putting 3.5% down, you're probably going to pay more to own that home per month than you would if you were renting that exact same home. But the thing that you need to keep in mind is that she already mentioned is you've got that equity growth, and this is yours, and that money's not just disappearing. There's tax write-offs with what you're paying in your mortgage insurance and your interest rates. And sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. I'm super out of shape, and I am realizing that as I'm trying to talk while I'm moving around. I'm going to sit down. So, and then also obviously the principal pay down. So yes, interest rates are high, but renting is 100% interest. So just keep that in perspective when you're looking at interest rates, when you're looking at what your payment can be. And also, I 100% believe the interest rates are going to come back down. We're not going to be in the 6s and 7s forever. They're going to have to come back down, especially we've got banks failing all around us. The feds are going to have to stop raising interest rates and back down a little bit. And when that happens, interest rates are going to back down. What's going to happen is when you see those interest rates come down, we're going to be back to the buying frenzy that we saw the last 2 years. So get a house now, refinance, and you're good to go. So the house that I'm in right now, I had to get a 6% interest, but if we can get back down to, 4.5%, 5%, my payment will go down by almost $1,000 a month. So I'm getting in now at a great price. I could have never got the price on this house that I live in a year ago. This house would have sold for almost $700,000 a year ago. I got it for $550,000. So you've got to get in now if you can. If you can't afford it, then obviously, like Santina said, there's sometimes in your life where renting is the option. That is the way to go. But if you can afford it, get into renting. There's 4 different ways I want to talk real quickly about how investments pay out. A lot of people just think of cash flow. So you think you go buy a house, you buy an investment, you get a renter in there, and you've got money coming to you every single month. I'll tell you one thing right now that's hard to find. It's not impossible, but it's hard to find if you just go buy an investment. But that's not really where the money comes in. The money comes in 3 other ways that a lot of people don't think about. Does anybody on here know what the 3 other ways are? Everyone's quiet. Okay. So the 3 other ways, the first one is your principal pay down. So this is the coolest thing about houses is it's debt you don't have to pay for if you're using it as an investment. So yes, you're in debt, $500,000 for a house, but you're not paying that debt. Your renter is, right? So they're paying your insurance. I mean, they're paying for the insurance there. That you're including all of this in your rent. You're paying for your interest. They're paying for your principal pay down. So every single month, a small amount of that payment. So say your payment's $2,600 a month, there's probably $500 a month that's actually paying down the principal on the house. The rest of it's going towards interest. But that's $500 a month essentially being put into a savings account for you, that somebody else is putting into a savings account for you. It's not as easy to access as a savings account, but you can access it through home equity lines of credit or through refinance or through a sale if you have to. So principal pay down is the other one, or the first one. And that's a big one that some people think about, some people don't. The second one is equity, your appreciation, your growth. On average, houses over the last 20 years have grown by 3.9% every single year. Obviously, the last 2 years, we've seen a lot larger growth, but on average, we're going to see 3.9%. It's your best way to hedge against inflation. Stock markets aren't doing that great right now, right? Like, we're all kind of seeing what's happening with that. Real estate's still doing okay. Everyone anticipated that, well, not everyone, a couple people anticipated that prices were just going to bottom rocket. And that's just not the way that it is, because demand is still there. We are seeing a lowering of prices, but that's mostly an adjustment to the interest rate. Everyone realized that this house may have been able to sell for this amount when we were at 3% interest rates, but now that we're at 6%, it's going to have to come down a little bit in order for that same person to afford that house. That's just the adjustment that we're seeing right now. We're not seeing prices plummet as much as part of me wishes that they would. So you're always going to have, or almost always going to have, that equity growth year over year. And even if you don't, there's going to be some years, 2008, if any of you were paying attention to the real estate market in 2008, when everything went awry, that went awry because of fraud, because of mortgage fraud and fraudulent real estate agents and things like that. That wasn't anything like what we're experiencing right now. That was a totally different situation. So they don't compare. But the reason I like to bring up 2008 is, even if you had bought at the worst time, which would have been probably February, March of 2008, if you had held on to that same house till now, you still would have had a 300% equity growth. It's huge. There's no way to time the market. We don't know when it's going to be good to buy. We don't know when it's going to be bad to buy. I bought a house last year that's worth now less than it was when I bought it, but I don't plan on selling it, if ever, anytime soon. So it doesn't really matter to me what that does, because when have you guys ever seen rent prices go down? It's not a thing I've ever seen in my market. I don't know about where you live. Please chime in and let me know if you've ever seen rent prices come down. So if you're in this for the long haul, who cares what the value of your home does, as long as your rent is covering your mortgage? And in some cases, I would even argue, if I came across a house where my mortgage was going to be $3,500 a month and my rent was only going to be $3,200 a month, so I'm paying $300 a month towards this house, if I can afford that, I still will probably do it. And here's why. You can take that same $300 and invest it every single month into the stock market, into your 401k. That's great. But you don't get to leverage your money in there. Here's the coolest part about real estate, and then I'll get to the fourth way that you earn money with real estate. Leverage. You can take $100,000, go buy a $400,000 investment. You are going to appreciate on $400,000, not the $100,000 that you put in. You put that same $100,000 in the stock market, you might get an 8% return if you have a really good investment, maybe 9%, but it's only on the $100,000. It's not on $400,000. So while you're looking at it and saying, well, 3.9% increase every year on my money, that doesn't really sound better than the stock market. If you look at leverage, especially if you bought it for a primary home and you only put 3.5% down, so you buy a $400,000 house and you only put about $14,000 down, you're earning 3.9% on $400,000 per year, but you only invested that small amount of money. Leverage. You can't do that anywhere else, and you can't hedge inflation anywhere else the way that you can with real estate. The fourth way that you make money that a lot of people don't think about, but it's huge, is depreciation. It is one of the few things in the legal tax system that is amazing, that I love to death. So every single house that you purchase at whatever price you purchase it at, that's your basis price, you get to depreciate that out over 27.5 years. In some cases, you can depreciate it all in 1 year. And there are people out there that are very wealthy and they do that. They buy an investment every single year. You also hear about people always like, get a G-Wagon, get a Range Rover, those type of things. Those are the type of cars that if you own a business, you can depreciate the entire amount in 1 year. A lot of the other stuff, they'll let anything under 5,000, I think is the pound. It's less depreciation. You have to go out over a time period. Kind of off a tangent there, but it's along the same lines of a house. there are some situations where you can buy a house and you can write off the depreciation of the house in 1 year. So if you're going to have a huge income year and you're going to owe like 20, 30,000 in taxes, maybe you buy a house that year and you depreciate it all out that year. I personally love to depreciate them out over the 27.5 because it will get to a point where no matter how much money I make, I'm not going to owe money in taxes. I have when I did tax returns, there were 3 houses on my tax returns as investment because I just moved out of my 4th into my 5th. So the 4th won't be on my tax returns until next year. My tax bill, because I am self-employed as a real estate agent, I own a day spa as well. There's money income there. And then I am W-2. I was W-2 as a loan officer. So I owed about $20,000 in taxes until they did my depreciation, and it brought me down to about 12. Saved me $8,000 in a tax bill. So just lots of different ways that you can earn money. And I've got a graph that I can send to Santina that she can send out to you guys if you want, that kind of breaks it down with your ROI. But your ROI on a house is usually closer to 27 or 28% per year when you include your principal pay down, your equity growth through appreciation, your money saved in taxes on depreciation, and your cash flow. So I love, love, love real estate as a form of investment. I've got a little bit in stocks, but not a ton. Any questions or thoughts on that?
Well, I guess I can mention this, is that with the interest rates being high, a lot of, well, I guess I wouldn't say high because they go up and down. I would say, would you say they're in the mid?
We're at the
mid-
top of the 6s right now, so it's higher than we're used to. Still not,
Mhm.
like you said, they're not really high, but higher than we're used to.
Okay. Yeah. And a lot of people think, okay, so since it's high, they're used to that 4%, 3%. That's pretty much what they're thinking.
Yeah,
But
we all miss those days.
yes. And so one point that I was suggested to mention when people think that is that when it's actually could be a good time to buy, because right now, if you find a house that you really like and you really want to get into, I would say now is the time to get it, because when the interest rates get down low, this could happen. There could be a bidding war to where you end up paying just as high for that
Yes.
house because
Yes.
everybody's fighting over this nice house.
It not could happen. It will happen because
Mhm.
we've still got that demand. That demand hasn't went anywhere. Just everyone's decided they got to move in with the in-laws because they can't afford where they're at. So they're all just sitting around waiting for those rates to come down, right? Like,
Right.
it's not if it happens, it's a when will this happen again?
So it's going to be an opposite effect. If they wait for it to get down too low, they're going to be fighting over the houses with the bidding war and all that. And
Yeah,
so
exactly. And this house
another,
I got in, it was listed at
Mhm.
579 and I offered 550 and they took it because
Wow.
it's been on the market for that long that they're just like, you know what, we're going to take it. That wouldn't
Mhm.
happen if interest rates were 4.5%, 5%.
Right. They would want the best offer when
I
the
would have
house
I
price.
would have paid 30,000 more for the same house and I would have only been saving maybe $300 or $400, a month. I mean, it just depends on your situation, right? Like, you
Right.
can't say what's right or what's wrong. It's just, if you can't afford now, do it.
Right. And another thing, because the sellers know that the interest rates are not where it used to be in the 3 and 4s, they're offering seller concessions.
Yeah.
And so that also could help with your closing costs and buying down interest rates and things like that. And so
Absolutely.
that's a plus that we can all mention if we're realtors, real estate agents, or just even thinking about and sharing that information, that even though the interest rates are in the mid or maybe not as low as what we want it to be, sellers are actually paying people to buy their house.
Yep. Accurate.
But so Anybody have any questions about the investment piece of it? Vhanessa mentions 4 ways of getting into investments with real estate. Okay. Well, if you guys think of any, we will have question time again at the end. And so let's see here. Now, the purpose of this is, who do you know who's interested in real estate? Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this class is also to number one, of course, to educate others and to empower others, to help others reach their goals. Because what you do for others, it's going to come back to you. If you ever hear that the scripture, you reap what you sow, or just even the saying, people, you say the word karma comes back to you, whether you do good or bad. But when you invest into other people, you will get a return. And so who do you know who's interested in real estate? Think about yourself. It could be yourself. It could be friends, families, associates, acquaintances, your mechanic, your lawyer, your doctor, your dentist, your teachers, mentors, pastors, church group, Girl Scout, Boy Scout associations. Usually when we ask these questions, you're like, oh, I don't know anybody. But when you start really thinking about the people who you come in contact with every day, then you know someone. Clubs, members, or part of anybody that's any type of club you're part of. If you know of anyone who's recently married, who's looking to buy, someone who's divorced, who's looking to sell, or even buy or downgrade, anyone graduated from school who's looking to buy, we would recommend that you pass their information along to them, and we would be happy to help them. I would be happy to help them here in Colorado. Vhanessa and Amber's in Utah. You can send me a text or an email with their information anytime you come across anyone that's talking, have those conversations, or just even mention it to somebody if you know that they could use some information about real estate to see if they're interested. And these classes are free to educate you and others, like I mentioned, as well as provide a trusted source of leaders as myself and Vhanessa, Amber, and anyone else on the line, if you're involved in the real estate, to refer your friends and family to, along with other invited leaders in this class. And if you want to stay in touch with the real estate market, you can send me your email, your name, address, and phone number. If you like to be updated often about our current market and real estate trends and helpful information, you can send it to me in a text, and I can get you set up for you get those emails every month of what's going on currently in the market. And that's my cell number. You can send me a text. Question time. Now with this session, it's not going to time out because I did upgrade my Zoom, so it's not going to time out as it used to. So any questions that anyone has that this presentation has sparked some questions within you and you want to ask, or something that you've been wanting to know but just didn't really have the right person to ask about real estate in general, or anything, any way it pertains to your life. And I do want to say that we do have someone on the line who is closing on their house tomorrow. So I want to tell them congratulations, doing their closing tomorrow. Marilyn and her husband, and they picked a really nice house out, but I think it has a lot of potential to it. So everybody congratulate them, give them hands up or something.
Exciting.
Hello. Thank you. Appreciate you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, because I lost my visual here.
And Marilyn, she's also interested in investment. She's actually motivated me to do these classes. Some of the conversations I've had with Marilyn is actually, I'm like, you know what, I need to do a class. And so she was my motivating factor in getting these classes together and getting partner up with, I was partner up with Vhanessa. That was just perfect connection. Because Vhanessa's, she's into those investments, and I'm soon gonna dive into that with Vhanessa.
Well, that sounds good. Sounds like I think once excuse me, once you get the momentum going, and like Vhanessa is saying, like she's, has 5 houses. Once you do one and you see the results of it, then you can continue on. You get a momentum going,
Mhm.
and you learn how to spot the deals and everything,
Right.
and get your other people to invest with you.
100%. That first one's the hardest one. First one's the hardest.
Mhm.
I can believe that.
Well, you've just been through it, so you know.
Yeah. And I'm also a notary. So I'm a signing agent. So I've seen packets, I've seen HELOCs, VAs, pretty much the whole gamut, conventionals, refis, the whole nine. And I didn't realize how much, you can negotiate on a property for, seems like me, a lifetime, but it can get kind of sticky, in terms of people, stepping on people's toes, like how much they really want out of their property.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, how much cash out they want. And I've always felt like if we can come to a resolution, everybody's, some type of give and take, compromise on either end, then we can come up with an acceptable figure and an acceptable buy for the buyer. So it's a matter of keeping the channels of communication open.
Yeah.
Which is very important, I believe.
And that's why you need an agent.
That's true too. Santina has never failed to tell me, hey, you need to sign this. Hey,
yeah, it's a process.
Like, okay.
It's a process. And so advice to those
tomorrow's the big signing day. I'm like, oh my
right.
God, 150 pages at least.
If there's anyone on the phone who hasn't bought a house, once you do buy a house, be ready to give it all you got, because you gotta be on task. You gotta get your stuff in. There's deadlines, there's dates, there's things that you gotta give in and turn in. You gotta stay motivated. Don't get discouraged. Just keep on going until you get to the finish line. And that's just really with anything or any goal that you're trying to achieve, is just really giving it all you got. And try to stay motivated, try to stay positive. You don't want to start speaking negative, and then because that's going to bring you down. Just keep on going until you reach the finish line, because that's one of the biggest transactions you'll ever make in your life, is buying a house. One of the biggest transactions is buying a house. And I couldn't suggest this enough. Before you become an investor, and you can give me your advice, Vhanessa, make sure your house is in order. Make sure you got your home in order, your finance, bills, whatever. But it's saying it's hard to help somebody else when you don't already have your own. You don't really have. I've heard of people being real estate agents that don't actually have a house yet. Nothing's wrong with that, but it's nothing like saying, I know what it's like. I've been there. I have my own house, and I've done this and I've done that. Make sure your home is in order. Make sure you meet your goals too, while you're trying to help others meet their goals.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't really have any more questions. I'm looking at I'm keeping my eye on my credit score. I unfortunately, or fortunately, the way you look at it, I have to purchase another vehicle because we only have one. And my husband was involved in a car accident, which totaled our car. So, but ordinarily, if we had the 2 cars, I wouldn't be rushing to go out and get another one. You know, that to me is like adding insult to injury, because your credit is gonna go take a hit for 6 months, and then it'll go back, you know, I guess normal or whatever normal is. So during that 6-month period, I'm looking at ways to increase my credit so that I can go into business credit, which is part of the reason why I'm buying the house. I do have a business, and the house is part of it. So, a matter of fact, I think Vhanessa said she has a day spa.
Yeah.
I have a day spa also, but it's a healthy day spa.
Okay,
And
like a wellness center type.
I'm sorry.
Like a wellness center.
Yes, exactly. And I'm in process now of trying to, you know, get my name out there to be known, with social media and all that. So,
Right. Good job.
You know, it's that too is also a process. But this is something that I'm committed to. I'm hearing about hospitals closing. I'm hearing about, you know, just different wild things about, you know, the things people are eating and putting into their bodies, and they don't even know it, that kind of thing. So, fortunately, the house that I purchased has, I don't know if it's almost, it seems to me like it's almost a 1/4 of an acre. Is that right, Santina? Almost. It's pretty. It has
I'll
a
have
pretty
to
good
look
yard.
at the
I'll put it that
specifics on
way.
it.
Yeah, but it's a
Do
pretty
you
good
want me to
yard.
show everybody your nice house or no?
Sure.
It's up to you.
Come
I'll
on
look it
by,
up
get
right quick.
treated.
I can like show it online. Hold on. If you're okay.
Okay.
We don't
I'm good.
care. Okay. I think it's a
It's
really
not like
nice.
you can't Google it, you know.
Yeah.
You know. So,
I'm gonna show it from Zillow. So let me share my screen. I think it looks really nice. It's a good pick. We went through a few houses looking on, you know, researching online. Can you guys see my screen?
yeah, I can see it.
I think it has a lot of potential. Yeah, big yard. Big
Yeah.
yard.
Amazing price, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
very nice. Yeah.
Rocky Ford, definitely. That's lower prices down there. Here in the Springs, they're like in the 300, Colorado Springs 300, 400, 600, 700s, 800s, up to that million, whatever. Denver is like that, more pricier with the houses. They end up painting the shed, so yeah, I think it's really nice when, you know, got a lot of potential to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, is that snow?
Yeah, so that was taken, I don't know when those pictures was taken. That's a lot of snow, so that was taken probably about a couple months ago, I would assume.
Right. Oh, that's new, because the other one didn't have any snow. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So we got under the snow line. It snowed today like it was nobody's business, and it's all melted. Okay, whatever.
Amen. And then I'm gonna show you guys my other one that I sold. Well, I didn't sell it. I was representing the buyer, not the seller. Let's see here. I know probably Zillow still has it. 36. This one actually had some potential to it as well. This was January.
No, that was nice.
Yeah,
Is that
I
it?
should have did
Yeah,
this
that
one
one
for
is
your
nice. I like
pictures.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, they did some fixing up on it before they got into it. One
And
bathroom though, 4 bedrooms,
one,
1 bath. That's what
I'd
made the
say,
price kind of lower.
yeah. I kind of wonder about people that have one.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's
I
not
mean,
home.
1.5 bath, I should say, because they
Oh,
have
well,
it.
yeah, okay. I can go for that.
I'm thinking about the bathtub. They only have one
Okay.
shower, 1 bathtub. Yeah, it's pretty nice, I think.
But yeah,
They didn't.
once you get your ducks in a row and you want to go for it, well, I'm looking at markets, different markets, and this
Mhm.
bank closure that the feds took over this one bank in California, and they're thinking that like Vhanessa said, prices are going to go down. Well, interest rates are going to go down, and because they have to. And I'm just kind of like keeping my fingers on the pulse. I've also, when I was in Las Vegas, I owned a home there, and it was during a time when, like she said, everything crashed with um 2008, I think it was. And I bought this home in 2006, thinking I was going to flip it. Well, I ended up getting stuck there. And while I was stuck, I had a balloon payment due. And then the house would go up to 1,600. Well, I was in, I had an upside down note, which I didn't know. I didn't know that could happen. And that means that the property is worth less. You know, the value of it is worth less than what you paid, and that is not fun. Being on that end, it's not fun.
Right.
And I hope it never gets like that again.
And if you guys are interested in the commission I made, I will share that with you on the last one I did. Not Maryland's, but they wanted 2.5% for the buyer's agent, which I was kind of sad about that. But 2.5%, I believe it sold for $349,000. That times that commission and check ended up being about $8,700.25. So
cool.
if you're interested in getting that real estate license, it pays off. But of course, after you're with the brokerage, you got to make sure you pay them until you cap. My brokerage, you have to pay them 36% until you reach, I think, 22,000 or something like that. And then after that, you get your 100% for the yearly. You have to do that. Then after that, you get the 100% is yours, unless you have a coach, which is usually 10% of your commission checks. So I didn't get to see much of that because it's one of starting the year off, but I did get to see a good chunk of it.
Well, I don't know. To me, that sounds like you need to be your own broker.
That's after 2 years, you can
do
according
it
to the
after 2.
law, you can,
Okay.
you have to meet some specific requirements to be able to be your own being brokerage.
Yeah,
But
and there's
Vhanessa, you
different
probably
brokerages
know.
out. Yeah, 2 years and you can become your own broker. But keep in mind, there's some overhead to being a broker that they cover. But also there are other options. My brokerage that I'm with it's just a simple fee structure. I don't pay a commission. So there's different options out there.
Yeah, I really don't have any desire to become a real estate agent.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, some people just do investments and they do just fine
Yeah.
doing that and without even getting a license. So like I said, however real estate plays into your life, you have to find that out, what's best for you.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking anybody that would want to. There are, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything, but I'm going a different route. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad a few times. I wrote him. And I definitely, I don't know if anybody ever heard of the cash flow quadrant, but he sent me a game. And at that time I was working in juvenile detention. And we would we would sit up at night and we would play this game. And the game itself is like a learning experience, like what to do with this money, how to leverage your house, how to, how to do different things to get you, quote, out of the rat race. And it was very educational. And I don't know if any of you've seen him. He's back online. He's talking about how, the economy is going to crash and you need to leverage if you have property. He talks about a lot of different things.
Mhm.
So he's kind of like been my mentor. After I won't say I lost my house. I was the house did sell. I did I had a renter in the house, which was my son, and they had to give my renter a relocation fee, which was $3,000.
Mhm.
So and I lived in, well, he lived in the house for 3 years and did not pay any money for the house. And there's just a lot of different, now you couldn't do that if you were in an apartment. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never ever heard of anybody doing that. So, and during that 3 years, imagine the money that you can save. So
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
having a house is definitely an advantage. There are a lot of different things you can do.
Right. So last call on questions before we close out. You can put it in the chat. If you don't want to speak it, you can type it in chat. I think I see a chat. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Just Amber saying she has to hop off. She said, great class. All righty. Well, I hope that was helpful and informational to everybody. It is recorded. So if you want the recording, you can send me a text and I'll send it to you. Other than that, thank you for joining. And again, if you hear of anybody talking about real estate, they want to get involved, they want to buy or sell, go ahead and send me their information over or send my information to them and I'll be happy to contact them. And if you know of anybody that comes up in Utah or even here, Vhanessa can write, she's a lender, so she can write mortgages for anybody here as well. So let me know, let us know, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for
I want to
joining.
appreciate. I want to just appreciate all y'all. I mean, for you all to just bring this all together, like it's mind blowing. I'm just listening. And I'm just like, wow. I'm ready to get started and just go forward with a lot of different things.
And I'm sorry, who's this?
This is Anjanelle.
Anjanelle. Oh, your voice sounds
Yeah.
different. Maybe you're cold or something like that. I'm like, who's this?
Yeah, the cold. My nose. I've been having a cold for like a couple of weeks. But yeah, I just wanted to appreciate you all for your time because you don't have to do this. But it's really helping me and motivating me to just go all the way full blown into it. So
Amen.
I just want to appreciate y'all.
Anytime.
All right. So everybody have a good night. And Vhanessa does have some classes coming up. What, Vhanessa, you want to mention the dates on your classes again? I know I have them marked down. If you remember.
I think the next one is on Monday, the 20th. And then the one after that would be April 3rd. And I alternate between, one's the home buyer class. So that one's focused mostly on, if you're a first time home buyer, all the things that you can kind of get prepared and expect. And then the second one is more of an investor class where I go deeper into what we talked about today.
Perfect. So
I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question. Do you all have any experience with helping people build credit to get eligible for loans?
Yes, I do. So that's something that I kind of have definitely a passion for.
Okay, that's one of my goals, and you can just let me know what your prices and
I don't charge for what I do. Yeah, I don't charge for what I
Okay.
do. I basically, as a loan officer, I'm going to look at it from a mortgage standpoint, what things you can and
Oh,
can't do.
okay.
I don't do credit repair mostly. I mean, I could. I actually have a credit repair certification. I don't believe in it. 99% of the stuff that credit repair companies do, you can do on your own. They don't
That's
really.
what I want to learn how to do it on my own. That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
just different options out there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just talk to you more about it and talk to Santina and just go from there. I'm excited. I don't even know where to start. Like
All
I
right.
feel
Well,
like
let
a
me know
spider
if
web
there's
everywhere.
anything.
All right. Okay. All right. So I'll send you guys the information. If you have everybody has my cell that's on here, Vhanessa's class that's coming up. And I'm probably going to do my empowerment classes probably once a month, along with joining Vhanessa's classes. All right. So everybody have a good night and thank you for joining.
Good night.
All right. Bye.